They say every millisecond counts in Formula One. But what if one split-second crash didn't just change a race, it changed history itself? A crash so perfectly timed, so suspiciously convenient, that people still whisper it wasn't an accident at all. Today, we're diving deep into F1's biggest conspiracy, the shocking incident that may have rewritten an entire championship. And stick around till the end, because the truth behind it will blow your mind. All right, welcome back to the channel. If you love Formula One stories filled with mystery, power, and drama, this one's going to keep you on the edge of your seat. We're talking about the crash that altered history. The 2008 Singapore Grand Prix, when Renault driver Nelson Piquet Jr. crashed deliberately to help his teammate Fernando Alonso win. But what if that wasn't just a one-off? What if there was more behind it? Secrets, politics, and a cover-up that went far deeper than anyone imagined. Let's uncover it all, from the crash itself to the conspiracy that shook the sport forever. 1. The night the world stopped. Singapore, 2008. Let's rewind to September 28, 2008. The Marina Bay Circuit, glimmering lights, roaring engines, and the very first night race in Formula One history. It was supposed to be a celebration, a showcase of F1's glamour and innovation. But no one knew that within 14 laps. History was about to take a dark turn. Fernando Alonso, driving for Renault, started way down the grid, 15th place. That's basically a hopeless position for a win, right? But here's where it gets interesting. On lap 14, Alonso's teammate, Nelson Piquet Jr., suddenly slammed into the wall. The crash brought out the safety car, neutralizing the race. And guess what? Alonso had pitted just before the crash, perfectly timed to jump ahead of everyone. When the safety car came in, Alonso found himself in the lead. He went on to win the race. Renault celebrated. Alonso was hailed a genius. But behind the scenes, some people whispered, "That's too perfect." 2. The secret everyone ignored. For nearly a year, nothing came out. The world moved on. But then, Nelson Piquet Jr. was dropped from Renault mid-2009. Angry, frustrated, and maybe a little vengeful, he dropped a bombshell. He claimed that his team principal, Flavio Briatore, and Renault's technical director, Pat Simons, ordered him to crash on purpose. Wait, ordered him to crash? Yes. According to Piquet, during the team briefing before the race, Simons and Briatore had told him exactly where to crash and when to bring out the safety car at the perfect moment for Alonso's strategy. Sounds like a movie plot, right? But this was real life. And when the FIA started investigating, things got messy fast. Data logs, radio transcripts, and timing sheets started lining up with Piquet's claims. It looked suspiciously planned. This wasn't just a bad call or a lucky break. It looked like manipulation. And that's when fans began calling it what it really was: Crashgate. 3. The fallout. When the truth exploded. Once the investigation hit the headlines, everything in F1 went nuclear. Briatore denied everything. Simons played it cool. Renault's reputation was on the line, and the entire team's future hung by a thread. But here's where it gets even crazier. Evidence started surfacing. Meeting notes, telemetry data, even coded language and radio messages. It became undeniable. In September 2009, the FIA dropped the hammer. Flavio Briatore was banned for life from Formula One. Pat Simons was banned for 5 years. Renault itself faced suspension, though later the bans were overturned in court. But the damage was already done. Fans felt betrayed. Teams were furious. It was the biggest scandal since the sport began. And you know what's wild? That single crash may have changed who won the entire championship that year. 4. The hidden ripple effect. How a crash changed everything. Here's the twist most people don't realize. That Singapore race was round 15 of the 2008 season. At that point, the title fight between Lewis Hamilton and Felipe Massa was razor thin. Alonso's win, caused by the crash, completely changed the points order. Why? Because it affected who finished where. Massa, leading the race before the crash, ended up with 0 points after a disastrous pit stop during the safety car period. Hamilton finished third and gained valuable points. Fast forward to the final race in Brazil. Hamilton won the championship by just 1 point. 1 single point. So if the Singapore race hadn't unfolded the way it did, Felipe Massa could have been the 2008 world champion. That's why so many fans, even today, call it the championship stolen by a crash. 5. The psychological side. Why would anyone do this? Now you might be wondering. Why would a driver crash on purpose? It's insane, right? Risking your life, destroying a car just to help a teammate? Well, Nelson Piquet Jr. was under massive pressure. He was struggling, constantly criticized by Briatore and desperate to prove his worth. When your career's hanging by a thread and your boss tells you to do something for the team, it's easy to imagine how fear and loyalty could mix into something dangerous. But there's another layer here. The culture of control inside F1 teams back then. Drivers were often treated like chess pieces. Strategy always came first, emotion second, and when power, pride, and championship glory are on the line, ethics can get blurry fast. Now I've got to ask you, do you think the punishment was fair? Should Alonso have faced consequences too, even if he claimed he didn't know? Drop your thoughts in the comments. This one's going to spark a debate. And hey, if you're loving this breakdown so far, hit that like button. It really helps keep these deep dives coming. 6. The aftermath, redemption or regret. After Crashgate, F1 was never the same. Rules were tightened, team radio codes were scrutinized, and drivers became more vocal about team politics. Flavio Briatore disappeared from the paddock for years, his once golden reputation shattered. Pat Simons eventually returned to F1 with Williams, then Formula One management itself. Piquet Jr., his career in F1 was finished, completely. And Alonso? Well, he walked away unscathed. The FIA said there was no proof he knew about the plan, though many fans still doubt that. For some, he remains one of the most talented drivers ever. For others, the man who benefited from the dirtiest trick in F1 history. 7. The bigger picture. Power, pressure, and the dark side of F1. This is where things get deep. Crashgate wasn't just a one-time scandal. It exposed the systemic flaws in Formula One. Behind all the glamour, there's ruthless politics, sponsorship money, and immense pressure to win. When millions of dollars and reputations are at stake, the line between genius and cheating can get dangerously thin. From team orders to fuel irregularities to political rivalries, F1's history is filled with secrets most fans never hear about. But Crashgate stands out because it wasn't about bending rules. It was about breaking them entirely. A human life risked, a race manipulated, a championship possibly altered forever. And maybe that's why fans still talk about it. Because it's not just about who crossed the finish line first, it's about trust and how quickly it can be shattered. 8. The emotional core, the man who lost it all. Let's talk about Felipe Massa for a second. Imagine this. You win your home Grand Prix. Your family is crying with joy. The crowd is roaring. For 30 seconds, you think you're the world champion. Then the radio crackles. Hamilton's passed Glock. And it's over. Years later, when Crashgate came to light, Massa was devastated. He called the Singapore race a manipulation and even tried to challenge the results legally in 2023. His argument? That F1 knew about the crash sooner but did nothing until the season was over. He may never get that title back, but for fans, the emotional truth is clear. That crash didn't just break a car, it broke trust, dreams, and maybe even justice in the sport. So let's recap what we've uncovered today. In 2008, a single accidental crash in Singapore wasn't an accident at all. It was part of a deliberate plan, now known as Crashgate, that helped Alonso win and potentially change the World Championship. The fallout destroyed careers, exposed corruption, and forever changed how F1 handles fairness and safety. And even years later, the emotional scars, especially for Felipe Massa, haven't healed. It's a reminder that in F1, the line between strategy and scandal is thinner than a tire's width. Formula One isn't just about speed, it's about power, politics, and human emotion. Sometimes the most dangerous part of racing isn't on the track, it's behind closed doors. But here's the real takeaway. Truth always finds its way to the surface, no matter how well it's buried. And that's what makes stories like this so unforgettable. If you found this deep dive fascinating, hit that subscribe button and check out our next video. where we uncover the hidden technology that F1 teams use to secretly spy on each other. You don't want to miss that one. Thanks for watching, and remember, in Formula One, nothing happens by accident.